Hello students, welcome back to my channel Lightup Knowledge and very warm welcome to today's video. I hope you all are doing great. In today's video we will cover conditional sentences type 2. There is a separate playlist of sentences in English language where all the types of sentences are covered. So without any further ado or delay, let's get started. The improbable conditionals type second. So the type second conditional sentences is also known as improbable or unlikely condition. So this conditional type second talks about unreal situations. Basically they describe something which is unlikely to happen, or it describes an unreal situation, okay, something that is not possible to happen. Have a look at this example here. If I had a map, I would lend it to you. If I had a map, I would lend it to you. So here I haven't a map right now, right? So this meaning is present. If I had a map, I would lend it to you. The next example is, if someone tried to blackmail me, I would tell the police. So the meaning is, I don't want someone to blackmail me. It's just a situation. Let us talk about the structure of type 2 conditional. So we know that a conditional sentence of any type is divided into two parts, the if clause and the main clause. So the if clause in type 2 conditional contains simple past tense and the main clause contains would. Okay, although variations are possible which will be discussed further in this video. Examples: if I had money, I would buy some storybook, but I don't have money. The if clause presents an unreal situation. The next example is, if I were you, I would not sign the agreement. Okay, so in this example, but I cannot be you, so that's again an unreal situation. The next example is, if she won a lottery, she would be happy. So she does not have much chance of winning a lottery. That's an improbable situation. Let us talk about the uses of type 2 conditional. The first use is when supposition is contrary to known facts. Means when you are assuming something, when you are thinking about something that's opposite to the fact which is in the present, or that's the real situation. So your assumption is impossible from the known facts. Have a look at this example. If I lived near my office, I'd be in time for work, but the fact is in the present that I don't live near my office. The next example is, if I were you, I'd plant some trees around the house, but the reality is I am not you and I cannot be you, right? So the second use is, if we don't expect the action in the if clause to take place. So you don't want the action mentioned in the if clause to take place. If a burglar came to my room at night, I'd scream. So you don't want a burglar to come into your room or into your house, right? The next example is, if I dyed my hair blue, everyone would laugh at me. If I dyed my hair blue, everyone would laugh at me, but I don't want, or I don't intend to dye my hair blue. Okay, so these were the two uses. One calls for the supposition which is contrary to known fact, and the other, you don't want the situation if clause to happen. We can have variations in both the clauses in type 2. So let's talk about the variations in the main clause. So we can use might or could instead of would. So generally we use would in the main clause in the type 2 conditional, but instead of would you can use might or could. Have a look at these examples. If you jumped from that height, you might get hurt. So instead of would you use might. The next example is, if a plumber were available, we could get this leaking pipe damaged. So instead of would you use could. Let us talk about the variations that can happen in the if clause. So the pattern of the variation would be, you will use were instead of simple past plus infinitive. So infinitive is 2 plus verbs first form, to laugh, to eat, to enjoy, etc. So Have a look at these examples. If I were to make choice between money and common sense, I would choose common sense. So, if I were plus 2 plus verbs first form to make. So, this is the variation in the pattern. The next example is, if I were to go to a hill station, I were plus to go, which is infinitive, right. So, if I were to go to a hill station, I would go to Ooty. So, these were the possible variations that could occur in the main clause and if clause in conditional type 2.